Bigfoot stomping in the dead of night, chupacabra howling under pale moonlight, Mothman wings spread wide in the haze, cryptid chaos in the darkened maze. Soapbox screams the wild unknown, myths and monsters overthrown, echoes roar from the deep abyss. What the hell is all of this?
Hey everyone, and welcome in for episode 99, Not Your Ordinary Critters. We're your host. I am Jason.
And I am Ray.
And we are back in the trailer hood. We got this nice new little flag behind us.
It's kind of, I hung it kind of
Crooked.
well,
bunched up.
fast.
Yeah. So this episode, we're going to talk about cryptids, specifically cryptozoology.
Ooh.
Cryptozoology is a study of unknown creatures whose existence is disputed by science. Not to be confused with mythology, which is a collection of myths and beliefs about a specific culture, religion, or group.
A lot of it's incorporated with like literature and stuff too.
And also not to be confused with urban legends, which are contemporary folklore people believe to be true.
Yeah, and most of that stuff is like passed down through like storytelling.
Now, and all three of those are kind of connected, but they're also separate. Cryptozoology is kind of a newer term, kind of been around since the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was coined around like 79, 80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it has been around for years and years and years. I mean, basically, as long as humans have been on this earth, cryptozoology has been a thing. There's been all sorts of, and this is where it kind of ties with mythology, is there's creatures that people believed existed, and it's based off of like hieroglyphics and folklore and myths and stuff like that.
I'm just imagining people like back then being like, bears aren't fucking real. And they're like,
Well,
get attacked by a bear.
So,
Oh, fuck, it's real.
like for instance, 6,000 to 5,000 BC, cave paintings of aliens were painted. To give you an idea, kind of when it started. And then 800 to 146 BC, mythological creatures involving centaurs, minotaurs, stuff like that, appeared in Greek mythology. And then you get into the Middle Ages, and you've got goblins, fairies, demons, demon dogs, kraken, dragons, stuff like that. And these are all things that people believed to be true. And then you get into some of the weird stuff, and then kind of the more modern ones. 1735 is when the Jersey Devil legend began. Loch Ness Monster was 1802. Yeti was first supposedly encountered in the 1830s. Yeah, and then Bigfoot legend began in 1847, which is kind of related to Yeti.
Right, there's some like Native American legend about Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And then there's also some, they talk about like the tall man.
Skunk ape, stuff like that.
Skunk ape and stuff.
And then in 1890, supposedly 2 men killed a thunderbird. So cryptids have been around forever. Now there are a lot of animals that were once believed to be cryptids that turned out to not be, and they turned out to be real. One of them is the giant squid.
Yep.
Another is okapi, or okapi, however you pronounce it. And if you're not familiar with that is kind of looks like basically a zebra and a giraffe had a baby. It's kind of got this
Like,
weird horse deer head. Yeah, it totally looks like an animal I would have drawn in like
A
fourth or
weird,
fifth
a
grade.
weird fucked up zebra horse. And you're
Dude,
like,
yeah. I used to draw all these weird creatures, and it would have like wings on it and like a head like an eagle,
yeah,
but then a mane like a lion, but then we also have a tiger body, but also have like a tail like a dolphin, and like it'd be these like weird ass like I don't know hybrid animals. And
dude. When I was little, I drew a Gryffindor basically, but I didn't know that
A
was
griffin?
a thing. Yeah, I drew
Yeah.
a griffin, and I didn't know that was a thing. I was like, yeah, it's got like part lion, part eagle, and then my teacher like saw that, and she was like, "Oh, you copied this off of Harry Potter," and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, you got this from the book, right?" I'm like, "No, I thought of that." And she's
No.
like, "No, you copied it." I'm like, "No, I swear to God, I thought of it."
So speaking of kind of like hodgepodge animals, another one that was for a long time believed to be mythological and a cryptid was the platypus.
Oh, the platypus.
And yeah, gotta love the puss. But no, they're a really cool animal. They are from Australia, I believe, right? Right?
I have no clue.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, it's got a duck bill and a beaver body, and I don't know. And I believe a baby one is called a puggle, right?
A puggle?
Yeah, look it up. Look it up.
What? Okay, I'm looking this
Yeah.
up.
And while he's looking that up, I'm going to finish out my list. The narwhal, the kangaroo, the sea serpent, Komodo dragon, and mountain gorilla were also believed to be cryptids and made up. Also, I can't remember giant Patagonian. Is that what it's called?
What?
What are you doing? You're trying to read the
I'm reading up on platypus.
okay. Why don't you just type what is a baby platypus called?
A puggle.
Yeah, see, told you.
Mm-hmm. Or platypup.
So the first kind of cryptid book was called On the Track of Unknown Animals, and it was published in 1955. It was believed, like I said, to be the first cryptozoology book, and it was by Bernard Hinde something, Belgian, and he was a Belgian zoologist, and Ivan T. Sanderson, which was a Scottish zoologist. And both of them co-wrote that together. And they both kind of craved more than just the animals that you could just go to the zoo and see or see on film from or in photograph from Africa or wherever. So it was really cool. To see someone that took all these myths and legends and
Yeah.
animals. What are you looking at over there? Jersey Devil, the trailer devil. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it was kind of cool to see someone finally take all this stuff and kind of put it into a big collection. And yeah, and then so cryptozoology is the study of hidden animals, and it comes from the ancient Greek words kryptos, which means hidden, and zoin, I think is how it's pronounced, Zoion, which means animal. So basically, hidden animal. And yeah. Now there are other crypto studies, but we're not going to get into those on this episode. And that is cryptobotany, which basically covers
Plants.
Yeah, basically carnivorous
I
plants.
forgot to grab my coffee.
You're all right. You'll just have to do without.
It's right there.
Yeah, you'll have to do without.
It's literally
Ray. And then there is also cryptogeography.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, see? Cryptogeography is the study of mythological or kind of mysterious places, like, you know, oh well, there's this mountain or this city, like the city of Atlantis, um, Turtle Island. Like, there's a bunch of weird
Isn't Turtle
places,
Island real?
like the island in the sky and stuff like that.
That's not real.
Yeah, there's supposedly like this island that floats in the clouds, and
That's definitely not real.
well, who knows? I don't know.
It's called a plane.
Yeah. So that's all the.
Oh, what
That's
is
all
this?
my-
This is fucking good. What is this?
It's peach peace tea.
Just peachy?
Yeah.
Oh, it's delicious.
So let's get into some of the cryptids.
You want me to read my list?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
Sure.
stick with just strictly the ones from North America.
Okay.
And this is kind of my own like composed list. So of course there's Bigfoot. We'll start off like big, and some of these are also including like urban legend, but
Mhm.
also they're creatures that have been identified by people. Mothman. Mothman. I think everybody knows all of these. I don't know if I need to describe it, but it's a winged humanoid with glowing red eyes,
Mhm.
and it's been seen in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, several times. In fact, it's been seen actually in like several different areas too, but people just call it, oh, it's the Mothman.
Mhm.
The Jersey Devil. So that, and you talked about that shortly. The hooved winged creature said to inhabit the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. There's the Wendigo, which is a cannibalistic spirit or monster, and that comes from the Algonquin folklore. Skinwalker. Now, the Skinwalker is a shape-shifting witch, which people have been known to, like, I guess not necessarily sight, but have encounters with. So that's more of like a kind of like a paranormal thing, but it's definitely like it's real. Like people have
Mhm.
had encounters where they like hear voices calling them, and they're like, "No, I'm not going out there."
Is that like they're talking about like the mermaids and
Yeah,
sirens
kind of like
and stuff like
sirens.
that?
Yeah. The Thunderbird. It's an enormous bird said to create
Mhm.
thunder with its wings.
Kind of similar to the phoenix, and
Yeah,
yeah,
except
that's kind of where it gets its
yeah.
Firebird and Thunderbird, and
I mean, there's also some, I think, tales that talk about the Thunderbird being able to like stare at you and just strike you with lightning with its eyes.
Mhm.
So, the Flatwoods Monster. Now, the Flatwoods Monster comes from Flatwoods, West Virginia, and it's an alien-like
there.
creature, and it's kind of like it's bipedal, and it basically just looks like an alien. So, specifically, like in Flatwoods, they just call it the monster.
Mhm.
So, the Beast of Bray Road. That's a werewolf-like creature, and they had spotted that in Wisconsin. Loveland Frogman. Now,
Yep.
This is a humanoid frog creature that has been sighted near Loveland, Ohio, a few times actually. And the Hopkinsville goblins.
So I saw a picture of the Loveland frog, like
Yeah.
supposedly. And if you've ever read the old school books of like Mr. Toad and Mr.
It
Frog
looks like
or whatever,
him.
it looks like one of them
Yeah.
walking. And
You're like, dude.
Well,
what?
is it
Somebody
Mr.
read
To-
too many comic books.
is it Mr. Toad and Mr. Frog, or is it Frog and Toad?
I think it's Frog and Toad.
Yeah, I can't remember. What?
But okay, so Hopkinsville goblins. So these were
Sounds like a sports. Sounds like a high school sports team, or like a.
It probably is. It's a small alien-like being that was seen in Kentucky in 1955. There was multiple witnesses and law enforcement that had actually seen these little creatures jumping off of this like farmhouse, and the occupants inside the house were actually shooting at these beings, and they were like dodging bullets. So they were really quick, and they were really fast. That's why they called them. But they were like basically little green men. So yeah, that they like had no idea what they were.
Kazoo
Yeah, they're just like
from Flintstones.
the little green man.
Hmm.
Let's see what else they got. Fresno. They have a Fresno Nightcrawler. It's a thin, leggy entity, and it's been caught several times on CCTV in Fresno, California. So it looks like a little. It
Mhm.
kind of looks like a worm with legs, basically.
Weird.
Yeah, it's just a lanky little leggy thing. It's weird. The Goat Man. Now, the Goat Man is a humanoid goat creature, and it's been mainly seen in Maryland. That's where like the legend has started, but they've also had reports of it being seen in Texas and a few other states too. Let's see, Snallygaster. That's a dragon bird hybrid.
Hmm.
That's also from Maryland. So a lot of the like old colonial states,
Yeah.
they have a lot of folklore that carries over from like natives, and it's like a mix of like natives and like European stuff.
Mhm.
The Dover Demon, an alien-looking humanoid seen in Dover. They've seen this guy like running around.
And that's also been called. I think
I think it's like the Dover
it's also called
Creeper.
the Dover Devil, and
Yeah, Dover
there's all sorts
Devil.
of.
Let's see. The Enfield Horror. This is a three-legged creature that has been reportedly sighted in Illinois. I think they've seen it like on the outskirts of Enfield, Illinois.
Hmm.
The Lizard Man of Scape Ore Swamp. It's a reptilian humanoid from South Carolina. And can you just imagine like some like lizard guy is like, what the fuck is
It's
that?
lizard people.
Lizard people are real. It's our president. No. Let's see what else. We have. Okay, so this one's kind of hard to pronounce.
They all are.
It's all Altamahaha. It's an aquatic creature said to inhabit Georgia's Altamaha River. So it's like, I don't know. That's the best I could describe it. Bat Squatch, a winged ape-like creature seen near Mount St. Helens. That creature was actually seen by a few people, and they've actually drawn it out. They're like, this is what it looked like, and it looks like something from like the old movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the old like National Enquirer and stuff like that? That would be on the tabloids.
Oh yeah.
Bat Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is real.
Yeah.
Like, this is totally fake.
And then like on what was it, Men in Black, that they were like
And
he's
then
like, you read that junk? He's
like, it's totally real.
yeah.
He's like, what? Loup Garou. It's a French werewolf legend that is, yeah, it's also found in Louisiana. So that one, they kind of like chop up like certain murders that have happened.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, oh, it was the werewolf, you know.
Well, and you also got to think is a lot of Louisiana used to be French.
Yeah,
and
that's mainly the whole like Louisiana.
So if I remember right, I
purchase
remember
and all
hearing
that
about
stuff.
that, and it kind of basically they believe that they kind of it's people among us that can turn into it, and
Well,
they believe that there's like multiple of them.
there's also like some of the legend goes that the land was cursed by like the natives
Probably
because the French like murdered and slaughtered all them. So
murder,
so
murder.
they're like, okay, well, we're gonna curse the land now, and now you're all cursed to walk around like werewolves. El Silban, It's a ghostly figure who whistles before killing in Venezuelan folklore. That's kind of weird.
Am I mistaken, or doesn't the Wendigo like whistle or something like that
No,
before?
the Wendigo is it's basically a cannibal. So
Yeah,
you eat like your friends.
yeah, but there's something else that makes like a bunch of noise or something like that.
Well, we'll have to get into that. Let's see. Van Meter visitor. It's a winged creature with a horn seen in Iowa.
Hmm.
The hide behind. These are forest creature said to avoid sight by hiding behind objects. So they'll like hide behind trees and rocks.
Speaking of that,
Which is like anybody can do that.
yeah,
I'm a hide behind.
yeah.
What the fuck is my cat doing?
I don't know.
She's like sniffing something on the couch.
What else you got?
Oh, she's smelling for a spot delay.
Oh, I usually sniff my bed before I lay down too.
Same cat. The squonk. It's a sad creature from Pennsylvania that's said to dissolve in tears when it's seen.
What?
So it's like, don't look at me.
So basically, middle-aged
And then it
girls
just melts, and then it's like, oh, it's gone.
disappears when they start crying. Got it.
Vegetable man.
What?
Yeah. It's an alien-like being with suction cup fingers.
What?
So it's like,
That sounds as dumb as Man Bear Pig off of South Park.
it gets a little more wackier. The Grunch, not the Grinch, the Grunch,
What the fuck is the Grunch?
a goat-like monster from New Orleans, and it's technically an urban legend. So,
Still,
Glaucus, it's a hybrid beast seen in Connecticut, and it's been spotted since the 1930s. They haven't had recent sightings, but it was pretty big in the 1930s. Caddy, it's a sea serpent seen off the Pacific Northwest
yeah.
coast. Yeah, so that one's kind of like similar to like
Nessie.
Loch Ness. Yeah.
All right.
Bessie.
I want to stop you for a second.
Okay.
Okay. You get on Tinder and you match up with someone that looks hot, right?
Okay.
Okay. But you only got like, waist up. And then you get there and the bottom half is a senator.
And you're
Are
like,
you still
oh,
hitting?
what the fuck?
Are you still hitting?
No. No way.
Sorry.
No fucking way.
I don't know why I even thought of that. All right,
Like,
continue.
But that ass, though. Okay, Bessie.
Oh shit, hop on, hurry up, my boyfriend's coming. Like you're hitting him behind.
Quick, get on.
Sorry.
Oh, that's fucking funny. Oh my god. Okay, we have Bessie, which is the Lake Erie monster. Serpentine creature spotted in Lake Erie. Just like, Loch Ness monster.
Yeah.
There's Champ, and that's a lake monster reported in Lake Champlain. Lake monster, let's see, Charlie. Not Charlie, but Charlie. That's a lake monster said to inhabit Payette Lake in Idaho.
I feel like we need to make up something for Lawrence.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
Clinton Lake.
kinda.
The Clinton Lake loon.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big ostrich-like bird. Comes and steals all your beer.
There's a Flathead Lake monster. Now that one's been talked about quite a bit.
Was that the
I
giant
think.
catfish looking thing?
Well, it's a flathead
Well, I mean,
fish. So
isn't that at Flathead Lake? Isn't that the
Flathead
name of the lake?
is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a large aquatic cryptid in Montana. There's the Ozark howler, which is a bear-wolf hybrid, said to emit eerie howls in the Ozarks. Now they have, of course, there's tons of coyotes out there.
Yeah.
So you will hear howling all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, there are people that said they spotted this bear-wolf hybrid. And I'm wondering if, like, maybe a bear could mate with a coyote.
No. There's DNA is too far off.
I don't
But I
think
think
it would
I
work.
think you could have something with like, because there was years ago, I remember there was a pair of cubs that were found in the wild
Yeah.
that had Down syndrome, basically,
Oh,
from
what?
inbreeding.
Oh.
And they basically they thought it was a different species of bear until they did DNA.
They're like, oh, it's just a
Yep.
inbred bear. Oh, it sucks. The white things. These are fanged, white-haired beasts from Appalachian Tales. There's the Pope Lick monster.
Pope Lick monster.
Yeah.
fuck
It's a
is
goat
that?
man said to haunt a railroad trestle in Kentucky.
Why is it called the Pope Lick man though?
know.
What does it have to do with Pope?
Maybe he licks the Pope.
Or is it in like Pope, Kentucky?
I think it's like Pope Lick, Kentucky.
It's weird. That's an episode that we need to do. We need to do one talk about weird city names and like where some of those names come from.
Bro, or like how many cities are named Buffalo?
Or Springfield.
It's too
Like,
many.
where the fuck did the Simpsons live? Okay.
Water panther. It's an underwater feline spirit from the Anishinaabe lore. I think I'm mispronouncing that. but-
Probably.
and then there's a
Sounds like some
fur-bearing trout,
Avatar.
which is a mythical fish
Sure.
said to grow fur to survive cold waters,
Yeah.
which literally makes no sense.
Literally sounds like a trouser trout.
It grows fur.
Oh.
Oh my god. Well, and that's all the ones from North America.
Okay.
The other ones that are like from South America include like chupacabra and all them.
Well, chupacabras
Chupacabra's
are
also been spotted in like
Texas and
Yeah.
New Mexico, stuff like that.
yeah.
Chupacabras are, I mean, it's not South America. It's just not in the United States. It's in.
It's in like Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found this article on Listverse.
Yeah.
And this is 10 obscure cryptids and why you've never heard of them. And the first one is the Fajorulali, and it's also known as the beach walker, which is, it's a lot easier. But it hails from Iceland.
Yeah.
And basically, it looks like a beaver and a pug crossed. And it wanders the coast. And, yeah. Supposedly, it does perverted things. As it humps. I don't know. It humps objects and stuff. I don't know.
I'm just imagining this like weird fucking dog looking thing humping
Yeah.
the light post, being like, oh. Like, what the fuck? Look at that guy. He's so fucking trash. What mask
no.
is he wearing?
That reminds me of the what was it, Doritos? They had the
Oh,
commercial
where
with the puppy monkey baby. And then do you
Puppy
remember
monkey baby.
do you remember those?
It's so fucking gross. It's like, why does it look like that?
Dude. Yeah. But yeah, and then there was the Haast's eagle, which is from New Zealand, and it was kind of found out as a real bird, but which ends up being a large eagle, but at one point they were believed to stand nearly like 5 foot tall
Ooh.
and have a wingspan of over 7 foot tall or 7 foot. And yeah, then they ended up being a real thing. The Ajul, which is a desert dog, And what they actually believe that it ends up being was basically dogs with mange, like they lost their fur, or
Yeah.
coyotes or something. And they've been similar type cryptids have been reported in Mexico, different than the chupacabra.
Yeah.
And I think they're often mistaken for what are the Mexican hairless dogs that are about the size of a German Shepherd, or a little bit bigger or smaller.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, but I don't know
The
their
dog
name.
from Coco.
I don't know their name though.
But then they're also found over in Africa. There's a thing called the Ohio grassman, which is an ape-like creature coated in green slime and grass. And yeah. Supposedly it's been spotted near the sides of roads, and people have almost hit it and wrecked and blamed their wrecks on it and not
Bro,
the alcohol.
I would fucking hit it.
Yeah, really, dude.
Like, hit it and claim it.
Um,
Let's get a kill tag for it.
there is the Aklut, AKHLUT. Not sure if I pronounced that right,
Huh.
but it is from the northern Arctic tundra, and it is a shape-shifting combination of a wolf and a killer whale.
Whoa, what the hell?
Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, apparently
Orca and 4 legs.
they run on the snow like a wolf, and then abruptly turn into
An orca.
an orca when they get into the water, and then they continue their hunt. There is the Gaiawu, or the Lake Tanachi monster, and involves a trip to Heaven Lake, China, or North Korea to find this. And it is an aggressive seal-like creature that wallow in a volcanic lake home. And these have been cited as far back as 1903, with creatures said to be buffalo-sized and known to attack people or scare them off.
You know, it's funny that you talk about like the volcano. They recently discovered I think hundreds of eggs incubating next to a volcano, and it's kind of a big discovery because these eggs are big. I think they're like 2 feet in length, so they're pretty big.
I've seen Alien.
But yeah, I mean it's kind of cool because you think about like
Are they like
marine life.
fossilized and preserved?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I have to go back and read the article, but they just found them. So I assume they're either fossils or they're just some creature laid them. It's like, there goes my babies. Bye.
And there is a thing called the scrimsole, which is so it was a particular sighting in 1862, and apparently these are like over 40 foot long, and then they have no flippers or fins, but they move like a snake across. They move like a snake crossed with a seal.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And then there's the deep sea abominable snowman. And basically, it just looks like a deep sea diving fucking
Yeti.
Yeah.
Well, I have a whole bunch on El Chupacabra. If we want to go over that,
Hold on.
yeah,
We'll get there. Yep.
And mermaids.
This is from parade.com, and this article is called The 30 Most Mythological Creatures from Folklore, Legends, and Fairy Tales. And I'm not going to read them all, obviously. But golems, are from Jewish folklore. And we know what golem is. It's this little, like, weird inanimate matter, like, kind of like this, like, mud, mucky thing.
Yeah. Isn't it supposed to be like a creature that like
Kinda.
you can control it
Mm-hmm.
and it'll do what you want, but it's like it comes with a price.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta watch your shit. Mm-hmm.
It'll fuck you up.
And there is Oni, which are a Japanese myth. And they're people who were wicked in their lives and transformed into demons in hell. And so these are giant scary monsters with red or blue skin, horns, and tusks. And they're usually servants of hell.
What the fuck?
Cyclops, that's a real popular one.
Huh.
Everyone knows what a Cyclops is. Ogres. Leprechauns. We just celebrated St. Patrick's Day, what, a month and a half ago?
I'm sorry, if I see some little green dude running around, I'm gonna kick him in the teeth.
Yep. Gnomes. Goblins. Fairies. I mean, a lot of these are things that we've seen. Mermaids, for instance, as you just said.
I like how you bought little gummy
Unicorns. Did that on purpose. A Minotaur. And Centaur. Oh no, man. I think if she was hot enough, you'd bang a Centaur.
No.
No?
No.
She'd be like, pull my mane. Werewolves. Yeah, Loch Ness Monster, griffins. And so this is where they kind of all tie. I mean, you have, like I said, you have things like serpents and things like that, but then you have your modern day like Loch Ness and Bessie and stuff like that. So yeah. What?
I'm playing with the unicorns.
Oh my god.
They're like fighting, and then they're like, "Oh wait, you're
Well,
a girl," and then he's like, "Okay, just put
Do you need to hold it back closer to the edge of the table if anyone's going to see it?
I like this."
Yeah. Okay. Stupid. Oh my gosh, where'd my article go?
Mm.
I had one more article pulled up. Do. Okay. God damn it. No. So there are, as we mentioned, there are several different types of cryptids. There's your humanoid ones that are kind of, they look like us. They're werewolves, they're vampires, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then you have your bipedals that are more ape-like, like skunk ape, yeti, abominable snowman, Bigfoot, stuff like that. You have your serpent ones, you have your air ones. I mean, there's basically anything you can think of. There's something similar to it.
Right.
Terrestrial,
Yeah. There's
aquatic, aerial. Basically, your three main groups.
yeah.
And terrestrial are broken up into like I said, Bigfoot, Yeti, and Sasquatch. Chupacabra, skunk ape. There is also things like the Mongolian deathworm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I believe is what. Well, first of all, what's the deathworm on Beetlejuice? Isn't that what didn't he call that the Mongolian deathworm?
It's
but-
not the Mongolian. That's not what
Yeah.
it was, but
There's, like you said, the Flatwoods Monster, humanoid creature with a spear shape or spade shaped head. Um, there is Beast of Bray Road, which is a werewolf like creature. There is the Almas, which are creatures that resemble Neanderthals. The Nandi bear, which was a bear-like creature with hyena-type head, and those were popular or like commonly brought up in East Africa. The Yowie, which is an ape-like creature similar to our Bigfoot, and that
Yeah.
is in Australia. I don't know how to pronounce it. The Makil Mambwe, Mamembwe, and that's a
No clue.
dinosaur-like creature in the Congo. There's a lot of stuff in Africa, South America, and
There's a lot of like
Mhm.
the beast of
Mhm.
whatever. And,
Yeah.
like the beast of. I think there's a town in France.
For instance, the Beast of Bodmin Moor, which is a large wildcat-like creature, in Cornell, United Kingdom.
So here's the thing about some of those ones like that happened in like the late 1800s.
Mhm.
I mean, people were bringing lions back from Africa,
Mhm.
and some of those lions got out, and some of them may have mated with some of the other animals.
Mhm.
So these could be like hybrids.
Well, look, yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, you have things like your wolf dogs. You have
Yeah.
your wolfen, which is like a beluga whale that has bred with a dolphin.
the beast of
Ligers, tigons. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. Geep,
damn it. I
which
need
is
to figure out what's the name of the French town that had the it's like Gévaudan, I think.
so there is a sigpin, which is a goat-like creature with the ability to walk backwards. That's from the Philippines. Apparently, Dogman, not to be confused with Dogman the movie, is a worldwide cryptid of a half
Yeah.
dog, half man.
Yeah.
There's also Grootslang, which is an elephant snake hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then again, your Aquid, and you've got like a giant sea turtle with an island on its back. That is Zaraton. And if you have not seen, I believe it's the third Aladdin. That's part of the plot there. There's a turtle with like this castle or structure on its back. Do you remember that?
No.
And it is full of gold.
It's kind of cool.
There is a bunyip, which is a bird alligator hybrid. We haven't even mentioned one of the most popular hybrid or cryptids of all.
What?
The jackalope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the jackalope, I don't know where it originally started, but it kind of got a majority of its fame from America's Funniest Home Videos. And they always had these little skits where Bob Saget would voice the jackalope, and then they would have some idiot redneck guy trying to catch it or whatever, and the jackalope was almost kind of like a Itchy and Scratchy and like Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner type scene where he would always the farmer would always get tricked, or the hunter would always get tricked into getting hurt or blown up or something like that. And yeah. Water leaper, Scotland, kangaroo frog hybrid. So it's just basically like
Yeah, there's a ton of these.
Yeah, there's tons of them. Kraken, Bermuda beast, Loveland frog, as you said, sewer alligators in New York. Actually,
those
have been
might actually
proven.
be real.
There are instances where they've found alligators, but I don't think to the extent that like people
Well, they're not
suggest it.
crawling around in the sewers, but they have been known to travel up north. I mean,
Yeah,
they're found in North Carolina, and they'll freeze in the
But
water.
we'll see what happens is
And I
people.
mean, we talked about it in that last episode
Mhm.
about gators. They will literally stick their nose up out of the water.
Well, it
just
wasn't
so they
last
can
episode,
breathe.
but it was a while back. But what happens is people get them as pets, and then they get too big.
Yeah.
And then they let them go.
They're just like,
Yep.
I don't want it anymore. They're like, it fucking bit me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there was a really weird one.
The Beast of Gévaudan is what I want to talk about too.
Well,
But
okay.
I didn't do any research on that yet.
So, like a sphinx is a winged lion with a human head, and that's one we're familiar with
Yep.
from
that's
Egyptian mythology.
that's real popular with
Mm-hmm.
Egyptian.
Yeah, and being here in Kansas, the closest to cryptids that I think we've ever experienced in our life, there have been a couple Bigfoot sightings around the area.
Yeah.
UFO sightings, which are different. I mean,
Oh,
that's
there's definitely
extraterrestrial.
UFO sightings.
Yeah. and
That's
then
a whole nother thing entirely, I feel like.
and then our wildlife officials are in denial of us having mountain lions here.
Oh, there's
They
definitely
exist.
mountain lions.
Yeah.
There's cam trails.
I almost hit one.
There's trail cams that have them on there.
So we almost hit the one that everyone kept seeing that they saw up on campus.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I mean,
cougars out there, man.
I've been around them enough to know that.
Oh, you can scare them off.
Yeah, but I've been.
Make
I mean,
yourself big.
I know enough about
Throw a
animals
rock at it.
to know the
Bitch.
difference between a bobcat and a cougar.
Yeah.
And like the easiest way to tell is
Bobcats are pretty small.
bobcats are a little bit smaller. They
Yeah.
have a shorter tail, pointed ears,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
Mountain lion's got the long tail.
Yeah,
Looks like a
and-
fucking puma.
and cougars are usually in their 50s and ready to settle down. No.
Oh my
No,
God.
but no. In reality, there are mountain lions around our area. Whether wildlife officials want to admit it or not, they've been caught on camera. There's been several eyewitnesses, and those are by hunters that and farmers that have seen bobcats their entire lives and can tell the difference.
Well, there's a lot of farmers that
Yeah.
they've reported like livestock with
Yeah.
injuries and deaths. I mean, there's not just some random. Here's a big issue here in Kansas is coyotes. Coyotes are a really big issue, and their population is pushing up because they don't allow night hunting in Kansas. Mainly, it's because of poaching, but night hunting is not allowed, and that's when coyotes are the most active. Now, there has been, I think there's a law where you can like maintain the safety of your livestock. So if they're like trying to eat like your calves, then you can shoot them. But I think you have to have like a special permit or something.
So I was mistaken. There are more cryptids in Kansas than I thought.
Yeah. Did you find a
So
list?
this is from Google AI. Says Kansas is home to a variety of cryptids or creatures believed to exist but lack scientific evidence. Some well-known Kansas cryptids include Beeman Beast, a gorilla-like creature said to roam the woods around Kansas City.
What?
Other notable cryptids include the Headless Men, Sharp Elbows, and the Thing on Unknown Lane and Deer Woman.
Sharp elbows?
Yes.
What the
So
fuck?
headless men, these creatures are mentioned in folklore as having no heads.
Okay.
Sharp elbows is another
Headless horseman.
creature with a somewhat unsettling name, potentially referring to creatures with unusually sharp elbows. I don't know.
That makes no sense. I have a sharp elbow. Look at that.
Dude,
fucking
I feel like kids. And then the thing on Unknown Lane, this creature is linked to a specific location, adding to its mysterious nature. I don't know, not really good. But yeah, then Deer Woman is a reoccurring theme in folklore, representing a creature with both human and deer features. And then you have Sinkhole Sam, which, while often represented as a humanoid, humorous element, Sinkhole Sam is a serpent with a Cheshire grin associated with a local sinkhole, highlighting the playful side of Kansas cryptid stories. So, let's see. There's also, as I said, Bigfoot has been reported several times here. Oh, there was another weird one. Okay, so Sinkhole Sam is supposedly about 15 foot long, and he's supposedly a prehistoric creature that lived in flooded underground caverns, which eventually led to the lake. Weird.
What lake?
I don't know. But
There's a bunch
supposedly
of lakes here in Kansas.
he's about 15 foot long and is as big around as a car tire.
Huh.
And that's about all. Supposedly people have spotted chupacabra and
Ooh.
Bigfoot here, as I
Okay.
mentioned.
Speaking of the chupacabra,
And then hellhounds, which are
yeah, but those are everywhere. That's not specific.
black dogs with glowing red eyes. Beeman. Okay, here's a better description of Beeman. So Beeman is a wolf Bigfoot hybrid that allegedly lives in the forest areas around the Kansas City area. And the story goes that a large gorilla escaped from a crashed circus train in the early 1900s, and the Beeman beast is the offspring of that gorilla and a wolf. Others say Beeman is more like a coyote or wolf terrorizing farms without clear signs of the usual suspected animals. This sounds just like a regular animal, but it is worth noting that cryptids don't necessarily have to be supernatural. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So, and this is from themercury.com.
Okay. You ready to talk about the chupacabra?
I mean, if you want to.
Okay, so the origins of this legend mostly come from Latin America. It's literally Spanish for goat sucker. So the first reported sightings of El Chupacabra occurred in Puerto Rico in 1995. Now that's like the first reported sightings. Now residents of the town of Canavas,
Cannabis.
I think it's Canavanus, claimed that a mysterious creature had killed dozens of farm animals, including goats, leaving behind puncture wounds on their necks. The phenomenon was widely reported, and it quickly gained traction as far as like an international media spectacle. So, like, it got a lot of attention. Let's see. A woman named Madeline Tolentino provided the earliest detailed eyewitness account, She described the creature as reptilian, standing roughly 3 to 4 feet tall, with spikes running down its back. Interestingly, her description bore a strong resemblance to the alien monster from the 1995 film Species, leading skeptics to argue that her account was influenced by pop culture. So people kind of like heard her say that, and they're like, "That really sounds like the movie." But whatever. Let's see. After the Puerto Ricans' reports, chupacabra sightings became rapidly spotted in Mexico, Chile, Brazil, and the southern part of the United States. In most cases, the creature was blamed for mysterious livestock deaths, especially goats and chickens, found like basically they found all these chickens just mutilated, but otherwise largely intact, as far as like they would just be drained of blood. So
Blood.
yeah, so the goats weren't really like chopped up, they just have like a few puncture marks on them, and they would just be dead. So the creature's appearance also began to change. In the southwestern United States, particularly Texas, chupacabras were described more like hairless canines, mangy diseased dogs, or coyotes with a ghastly appearance. DNA testing of several carcasses found in the areas revealed they were indeed coyotes suffering from mange. So that kind of like proved to some people that, oh, well, these are just coyotes running around. Coyotes are very harmful towards livestock, especially chickens. Like they will burrow into a chicken coop from the ground and like go in there. That's why a lot of farmers have like other dogs on their property to like fight off the coyotes, which sometimes doesn't end very well because, I mean, coyotes don't. There are loners, but they will travel in packs sometimes. So, scientists and folklorists generally consider the chupacabra a product of urban legend, influenced by media and regional anxieties.
It's real.
It's people say it was real. So, let's see. According to Benjamin Radford, who conducted a 5-year investigation into the phenomena, no credible evidence has ever been found to support the existence of a blood-sucking creature. Most livestock deaths attributed to chupacabras have plausible explanations, such as predation by wild animals or disease. So, kind of cut and dry there.
What's your favorite cryptid movie?
I don't know.
Do you remember Water Horse?
No, I don't remember that one.
What about Harry and the Hendersons?
I do remember that one. That one's funny. Where it's like Bigfoot.
Smallfoot.
Smallfoot.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember Smallfoot. Oh
Yeah,
wait, that's a
yeah,
cartoon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I think I watched that episode
Then there
of
was Abominable. There was
Definitely seen
Chupacabra. Incident at Loch Ness.
Never seen that.
Skinwalkers. I'll go to.
We'll have to talk about. We'll have to have like a separate episode.
Yeah.
For
Well-
like Mothman, Skinwalkers, because those are like legends and lore,
Yeah.
and so those are a little more. I mean, we can dip into like the mythology of certain things, but like, I feel like those alone need their own standalone episode.
I think there's a lot of them that do, and we can do that. Some of them that have a lot longer folklore. Eventually we'll do an Egyptian mythology episode. We'll do a Greek mythology. We'll do a cryptobotany, cryptogeology, or geography, whichever. I mean, the possibilities are endless, But we also have a lot of options.
Do I have time to talk about mermaids?
We're already at an hour. We can
You want to save it or what?
just go and save it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about we'll do an episode about mermaids too,
Okay.
and tie in some other sea creatures with it.
Okay. Yeah, then we can do like
Maybe
an
we can do
ocean
one with like Atlantis or something like that with it.
I feel like we should do like a cryptid series. So we'll just make this like the part like intro to like the next cryptid series.
Which we can get into some urban legends and mythology and stuff like that on some episodes
Well,
too.
it's like Mothman. It's a creature. Technically, they spotted this creature, but like there's a lot of folklore behind it, and there's a lot of like theories behind it too. So,
Yep. Well, all right.
this paper was blank the entire time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna go put on a unicorn mask and hit Ray from behind.
No.
Y'all have a good night.
No.
Y'all have a good night.
No.
Bye.
Bye.